Well, friends, just wanted to welcome you to this little video I'm going to be doing. It'll be about 5 minutes long or so, just kind of introducing you to some of the things that will be a little different as we gather for worship this coming Sunday in person for the first time, and I think it's about 187 days. Yeah, 187 days. Who would have thought? So as we've shared over the last few weeks, we will only be using two entrances into the church during this time. We'll be using this one here, Fort Thomas Avenue entrance, and then also the one from the parking lot down the ramp that goes to the elevator. We would ask that unless you really need to use the elevator, use this entrance on Fort Thomas Avenue. Because of COVID requirements, we are limiting the number of people who will be in the elevator at one time to either an individual or to a family unit that's together, that came in together. And so it may take a little longer because of fewer people being able to be in the elevator at one time. So if you can come through this entrance and use the stairs, please do so. That'll help it a lot easier for folks. As you come to either one of those entrances, there will be an usher or multiple ushers there. They'll be checking folks in as we've pre-registered. Hopefully you have done so. And they'll also be asking about temperature. So I encourage you, take your temperature or check your temperature before you come to worship. That way we're not having to check temperatures. We can just simply say, do you have a temperature today? No? Great, come on in. We will be requiring masks, and we will have some masks. You'll see some that are right here, made by some wonderful folks here in the life of our church. We have some masks for you, but masks are required. Once you come in the building, you are required to wear a mask. The only people who will not be wearing masks are those who are leading in worship when they are actually leading. Like if I'm speaking, I will not be wearing a mask, but at other times in the worship service, I will be. So masks are required of everybody over the age of 2. Just like when you go into Kroger or go into other places, it is a requirement. So please bring your mask with you. So we're going to just wander on up here. As you come into worship, you will not be receiving a printed bulletin, nor do we have the pew Bibles or hymnals or anything else in the pews right now. It is out of an abundance of caution that we are doing that, and that may change in the future, but for right now, that is what we are doing. As a result, well, the screen's not down right now, but we will be using the screen extensively in worship over the coming weeks. And I will say, I've been around churches with screens and technology enough to know that there will be some hiccups. I do believe if there's one place that Satan works consistently in the life of a church, it's with messing with sound systems and multimedia. Seen it in every church, big and small. So there may be a few points where it goes sideways, and that's just how it happens. And we'll try to work with it as best as possible. But we will be using that extensively. You can print off. The bulletin will be up on the website. You can print that off in advance if you would like to bring that with you. Also encourage you, as I shared in my email earlier this week, to bring your own Bible with you. It's a great practice that shouldn't be just during a pandemic time, but it should be a weekly practice that you're bringing your own Bible with you to worship. So as you come in, you'll notice that the pews have this rope down the center. That is because if you come in one side of the pew, you're going out that side. So we're not crossing all the way over for where folks are going to be going in. So you'll also notice that some of the pews have pew cushions and others do not. The ones that have pew cushions, that is a place where people can sit. Places where there is not a pew cushion, those are places that we are blocking off for right now. That is because what we, as our reforming team, went and worked through what it would be for 6-foot distancing. That's kind of the reality of how we will have to be seated in here for right now. So that does limit the number of people that we have in worship to about 55 or so who will be sitting in the chancel area. And that's part of why we're doing the pre-registration. If we start getting more than that, well, we'll work with that problem and we'll deal with it. But for right now, that is what we are setting up. So most of the rest of worship will be somewhat similar to what we've been doing with the online services. It will be a shorter service, not because we are cutting, saying things aren't important, but there's just certain things like the offertory. We won't have an offertory. We're not having the passing of the peace. Some of these other things that would be parts of our time of worship together won't be in there. So the service will be a little bit shorter than what we normally do. So that's really the big things. One other thing I just want to note, had a lot of people asking about singing, and there will be an element of worship that's a bit of a hybrid thing, that some of the music that we will be using will just be up on the screen. Some of it will be done in person. We are not encouraging congregational singing right now. That is following a lot of guidelines and recommendations. I know that the other churches are doing things different than that, and that's their choices, but our reforming team is recommending that we don't do that. That being said, we're not going to be like policing people and saying, okay, you're out if you start singing. But we do discourage it because it is something that is shown to spread the virus. And so we want to be as careful as we can as we get started back in person together. Friends, I am excited to be back together with you all. Be feeling like a new experience, actually preaching to and sharing with individuals, with human beings, rather than just a camera lens, which we've been doing over the last 187 days. So I look forward to being with you in worship this Sunday. If you have any questions prior to Sunday, give me a call, send me an email. But look forward to our time together. Grace and peace be with you.